Mi Gente, YERRRR. Welcome back to a third season of Oye Mi Gente podcast. Thank you so much for sticking with us through another season. I'm eternally grateful to have you all tuning in. Today, we have writer, author, butch tia extraordinaire, Gabby Rivera.
Hello.
Gabby Rivera is a Bronx-born queer Puerto Rican. And then it's like if you have to go out there and make someone feel bad because you yourself feel bad, and you're like, well, ain't nobody ever do shit for me, so fuck everybody, fuck this and fuck that, then it's, it's the hurt of not having support and not having the love and not being told, like, you're amazing, you're wonderful, you don't need to adhere to society's gender norms or this European standard of beauty.
Right? Like, can we all just be fucking fat? Like, can we all just... One of my favorite quotes is like on one of the early episodes of Living Single. I think Sinclair is like, what would the world be without men? And Queen Latifah is like, it'd be a bunch of fat, happy women. Like,
facts. Oh my God.
And, that's in like a bit of that's like a gender binary, blah, blah, blah. But in my world, I'm like, be thick and juicy and happy and like, just, let it go. And what you said also was really resonant, because if you haven't been offered love language, if you haven't been offered affirmations, then it is so hard to take that in, and it's so hard to give that. Like, yeah. I literally learned in the last couple of months to just let people love me.
Yeah, same.
There's this one cutie ass babe. I'm not gonna say no names.
The one that be dropping off the little like limoncitos and ginger for your sopita.
I'm like talking to my therapist, and I'm like, man, she is too nice to me. I don't even understand what's going on. Like, why is she trying to get close? Like all of a sudden just backing up. And my therapist was like, you could just let someone be nice to you.
Yeah.
You could just let somebody be like caring towards you. You could just sit with that, and you could just ask yourself like why that makes you uncomfortable. And it's been because I usually seek women that are emotionally unavailable, and I have to jump through a million hoops to prove myself to them over and over again to get affection that I finally think I deserve.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, letting people be nice to me and love me is so much easier.
Oh my God, for real. Like I've gone through my share of that in like seeking that type of validation. And if you're a little too nice, then it's like I'm looking at you sideways like, I don't know. I don't believe that. That's not genuine to me. Like every single person that I've dated have been an ain't shit person. So it's like, because I've dealt with so many ain't shit people, it is so hard to find that genuine good person that just wants to hug you and love you and give you kisses and give you all the limoncito and garlic for your sopita and wants to like rub on your belly because it makes them feel good and hug you when they sleep and put your hand in between that chicho because it's warm. Now I'm projecting my experience, but
I mean, it's so relatable.
Yes.
Sometimes I'm just like, how is everybody not a lesbian? Like,
for real. Like, I may not like my belly rub, but sometimes I like my belly rubbed.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your experience as a queer Puerto Rican from the Bronx. Were you always this proud butch tia? What was that evolution like?
Oh, wow. You know, oh. No, I mean, okay, like I grew up in, I guess the North Bronx, right? Wakefield, 241st and White Plains.
Damn, that's deep. That's deep. That's like what, 2 train?
That's the two
Two.
train last stop right on the border of Yonkers and Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
So I'm up there. And I think I had a unique experience, maybe not unique, but like a lot of folks imagine that the Bronx only looks one type of way. And so I think where I lived, there was an interesting intersection of like more kind of like, I guess, hood, right? Like the liquor store, the Korean market, the graffiti, the trains, all that stuff. And then also people have houses, people have gardens, people have, 9-to-5s, families, like neighborhood, right? So the neighborhood was just like loving, supportive, like families, and also those tougher elements, those disenfranchised elements. You know what I mean? So I grew up kind of living in the middle of all of that. Good home, good family, super strict Puerto Rican Pentecostal Christian parents, hoping that their kids weren't gay.
Yeah.
Like very rigid gender norms and, all of that stuff. So I think I grew up very much afraid of like Jesus and God and breaking my parents' rules and like having to behave in school and listen to the white lady teachers and like, a lot of pressure, firstborn daughter, Latina pressure
that firstborn pressure.
Firstborn pressure. My mom, I mean, even something, my mom wanted the best for us if she was a teacher, but like if I had one eraser mistake on my homework, she would crumple it and be like, do it again.
Yo, my dad was like that. Was like, I don't like the way your handwriting looks. Do it again.
Yeah. So, it took a while for me to kind of assert myself. And then when I came out, the number one thing was like, oh, it's okay that you're a lesbian, pero nena, don't cut your hair. Don't cut your hair. Don't be like one of those manly ones. Don't be like that. And,
the machos.
That was his own mind fuck. Cause it's like, it makes you, and then it made me as like a young queer hate seeing other butches. And I think that internalized self-hate also shows up in the way that butch folks are predatory against each other, and like we often are in competition with each other, and there's not a lot of room for gentleness and tenderness, and people, it's so bad that people even frown on like butch on butch couples and stuff like that. So it's like, ooh, I think I was at odds with myself for a really long time. And then that's another thing, like with my best friend passing away, there was a moment where I was like, nobody can tell me shit. There is nothing anyone else can tell me because it doesn't matter. All of it can be gone in a second. And I can turn around and be like, I spent my whole life trying to cater to you and making myself miserable and not connecting with my communities. No, never, no more. I'm going to shave the sides of my head. And you know what? Watch me start dating your daughter and you just gonna have to deal with it. You know what I mean? Like with this big ass grin on my face coming through, got your grandkid on my hip and a bag of groceries. Go ahead, hate me now,
Yo, facts. Yeah, I remember that first time I shaved the sides of my head. I got what's it called? Double shape up. With my Arcangel braids.
Ooh.
All the way to the back with the different designs, and I was just like papi suave right there.
Yeah, and there's so many like baby dykes, baby studs, like LGBT couples in the Bronx and in our neighborhoods and stuff, and like we don't get enough shine. We got to be shining on each other.
Yo, for real. Is that what inspired you to create BB Free?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so if you're like, what's BB Free? BB Free is my new original comic series, like you said, with Boom Studios. It follows 15-year-old BB Free and her best friend Chulita. They live in the fractured states of America. It is 200 years in the future in a post-climate change, post-apocalyptic America.
Mm-hmm.
And BB runs a radio show, B Chula Radio, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And Chulita is in her mobility wheelchair, right? Tech genius, brilliant, and together they are on the adventure of a lifetime. So that's the comic series. And BB is developing like superpowers that are like part of the universe, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So for me, coming up with all of that was like, you know, a lot of folks, especially when they are rooted in white supremacy, they do not want people of color in the future.
Yep.
When I think back, and my elders have taught me, and I've learned that they sterilized Puerto Rican women in like the 1960s. That is literally white supremacy in action, saying we are trying to get rid of you.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, actually, with the protests and PR and the governor of PR having those chats leaked saying things like, oh, haha, we wish for a day without Puerto Ricans, and oh, haha, I wish we could feed the dead of Hurricane Maria to the crows. These men that are supposed to be in charge of everything talking like that. I'm like, you know what? You're not going to stop me from being in the future. Your disgusting need to support and uplift white supremacy everywhere. I rebuke that.
Mm-hmm.
I rebuke that. I am going to take this chubby, beautiful, brown, queer baby girl, 15. I'm going to plop her 200 years in the future after the plague that ate greed has annihilated the 1% and the other top 60% of consumers in the world. We're going to start fresh. We're going to go on an eco-divine adventure, and you can't stop me.
I love that.
And your daughters and your non-binary kids and your children are going to read my work, and they're going to know that they deserve to have abundant, majestic, joyful futures.
Yo, I fucks with that. Because, like, I fucks with that. I feel like greed is what put us in a place where we are now.
Yeah.
And with what you have written in BB Free is like, we need to go through something like that. So someone like BB Free can fucking take over and use her magical powers and rid us of all the BS just so we can all live a happy, joyful life without any judgment, just letting people be.
Yeah, you can just slide it through. Yes, sorry, the mail guy.
So they put your wrong address, but I saw the name and I was pretty sure.
Thank you so much.
No problem. You might want to let them know whoever it is.
Okay, yeah, just drop it right on there.
No problem.
Sorry, Viv.
It's okay.
Sorry, Viv. My window's open and the mail guy was just like, Gabby!
Oh my God, what did I say? What did I say?
BB Free.
Oh yeah. God. We just need to live in a world where we can all just be free, be whoever the fuck we want to be, non-binary, cisgendered, lesbian, gay, queer, pansexual, whatever, without having anyone trying to take our joy and trying to tell us who we should be. So BB Free definitely came at the right time.
Hey.
At the right time.
Yeah, and if you're trying to get BB Free, one of the ways you can right now is hit up your local comic book shop.
Yeah.
Because a lot of comic book stores and bookstores are like suffering right now and trying to shift their services to direct order So yeah, if you're in Oakland, Cape and Cowl is my favorite comic book shop. And yeah, but BB is going to be in like book issue format coming
Yes.
October
Awesome.
2020.
Awesome. Yeah. I love that. Like the what are those comic books? They're like comic books, but they're I forgot what they were called. There's actually I think it's the book The War on Puerto Ricans, it's actually written in that type of format. It's like comic but book style.
Yeah.
Yo,
Oh, cool.
powerful. Powerful. What drove you to create Joy Revolution?
Okay. Okay. I'm a regular person. I have mood swings. I get cranky. I get annoyed at people. I have a temper. Like, yes, let's just put that, out there, because a lot of times, especially when we look at like folks that are in the public, they get considered like this one thing, and then they like Ellen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ellen is like the queen of nice. But then sometimes you'd be like,
Ellen,
because it's not rooted.
I don't feel like it's genuine.
Like what's happening, like it's not rooted in real life. And so I want to be really mindful when I talk about joy that it's also very much like rooted in what is happening in everyday people, And so for me, I was feeling so overwhelmed when Trump got elected, right? I shouldn't have been shocked, but I was shocked because I grew up in New York and we know what a scumbag he is. So I had no idea that the rest of America had no idea what a lying scumbag he was. You know what I mean? And then it was like we were in this collective rage, grief, misery that we have not been able to really release, right? And because greed and capitalism and men and white supremacy control the media, they constantly barrage us with his face. They want us to be afraid, right? That control was like fucking with my head. And this is my favorite word. I rebuke that. For me, Joy Revolution is like, okay, you don't get to control my conversations. You are not going to control what's going on in my mind, spirit, and body. I need to reconnect with my friends and people that I love and just say, okay, yes, I will hold your pain. I will hear the way that you are impacted by this. But what is just like one joyful thing that happened this week? That's what I started asking people, just in general. I wasn't writing anything down. I was just like, hey, like anything? Is there one thing? And then I started noticing like people would feel really good after that. There would be like a collective like, oh, hey, yes. And so I was like, I just want to do that more. In days where I didn't have it, I was like, I know that when I'm talking about it, it just builds on its own,
Yeah.
So that that needing to like be like, I don't have to fall into that narrative. And if you notice in their news, in their content, they speak in that aggressive language.
Yeah.
They speak from a language of colonization. They speak from a language of violence. They speak from that. And no. In my queer communities, in my women of color communities, we speak from the spirit. We speak from the heart. We speak from the ancestors. And that's a totally different language.
Yeah. I definitely feel you on that. Like, even with my podcast, what Trump started saying about immigrants and people of color as a whole, like, affected me so fucking much that I was just like, I cannot allow people to believe this narrative, because this is why people immigrate over there. We don't just like, oh, I'm just going to go take over the US and take other people's jobs. No, like, we lived good ass lives in our homeland. We lived good ass lives till the US got their grubby hands on our government and pretty much took all our shit, and I was like, damn, we gotta go somewhere else to go find it, because now these good ass jobs ain't so good no more. You know, so power, definitely power and blessings to us both for creating and trying to change the narrative of what this orange cheese doodle,
You know, I'm really calling him a Cheeto because I love Cheetos, and Cheetos deserve better.
Yeah.
I'm more like nuclear waste.
The orange starburst.
The orange menace. Like I want to bring Cheetos back into the love, joy circle. Like, Cheetos did not do anything to us.
Yeah, that's a fact. Because,
yeah, like, and you know, there's also, yes, white supremacy, and also very much like patriarchy, like anti-patriarchy, because any group of men with enough power, regardless of their color, will utilize it in the most brutal and obscene ways.
Yeah.
It is a sickness. It's a sickness, and it doesn't, like, I create worlds that doesn't exist. Like, in BB's world, she will not be harmed by men. They will never, like, she might have an issue with her dad, which I put in there for like emotional, you know, figuring it out. But like, the bad guys aren't going to be men grabbing them or punching them or hurting them. You know what I mean? Like, they will take on like eco problems, or the grown-ups will handle the other grown-ups, and they can navigate with just other kids. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to offer even that extra sense of safety in the comic book. You know what I mean? Because it's like so normalized for men to be violent against like women, young girls, gender variant folks. Like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm good. Keep that shit to yourself. Like,
facts.
Y'all want to be abusers? Go to Abusers Island,
yeah,
and abuse each other. Like, leave the rest of us the hell alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because like, we already go through like enough shit. We don't need that shit. We don't need your shit. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, Felicia. Finding joy amongst all this BS that surround us, the way it affects our daily life, the PTSD we developed from the experiences we have navigating through the world is a hell of a revolution. How have you changed as a person since you began this journey?
Well, listen, like, there's like how I've changed in my journey as a person just going through therapy. But I think with the Joy Revolution podcast, we're just starting. And I think that it's not necessarily something that changed, but it's like me every day being like, let yourself be open. Let yourself be open. It is okay to turn towards the gentleness. It is okay to turn towards like the quiet. Yeah, it is okay to let, like I said, like to let people love me and to be loved. And remembering that when I'm feeling lack, right? When I'm like, oh, I'm not getting enough attention, or like, oh, this isn't right, or somebody's doing something wrong, or like that person this, like that is really, again, a check-in for me. But, you know, like, and it's also, I think I'm also learning to like just keep digging deeper. You know, not everybody can afford therapy, right? So, okay, therapy worked for me, but also like, what in your practice helps you? Is it drumming? Is it like the humming? Is it like learning your grandmother's songs? Like, is it like we said, Sopita ministry? You know what I mean? Like, this is, again, in white supremacist culture, there's supposed to be this one size fits all, right?
Yeah.
Where like, if you just do yoga in the morning, you'll be fine. It's like, no.
Yo, facts. Like, we've been trying to do yoga, like, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, but downward dog ain't gonna help me with my sadness.
Right? Like, you know, God damn it. Like, there's so much, like, you know, maybe it's just like your social worker shows up on time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is accepting joy and love and support wherever you can find it in your community and in your life at any moment and in any place, and not ever feeling like what you have around you and what you have inside you isn't enough, because it is. It will always be there. We always have our ancestors with us too.
Facts. I share to that.
And people are cute. I'm learning that people across the board want to be loved on, want to be snuggled, want to be affirmed, want to be covered in joy, from big ass muscly boyfriends to like little pink-haired 13-year-olds telling you to shut up, mom. Like,
yo. Yes, I feel like one of the biggest love languages is affirmation. I feel like even being told, like, you're powerful, you're amazing, you're unique, is joy.
yes.
What do you hope to leave for generations to come?
Oh my gosh. I want to leave stories that encourage all the queer, Black, and brown babies to be magnificent, to love themselves and each other, and to know that they are allowed to reimagine and recreate the whole entire world so that it suits them and the people that they love, that they are allowed to take up space and allowed to love each other and themselves unconditionally. And that there's literally, yes, there are things in the way, but internally your spirit is abundant and so strong. Yeah. And my laugh. Can I leave my laugh?
Yes, because everybody needs to experience that. Everybody needs to experience that. Like, laughter is love. And when you like feel like that good laughter, hear that good laughter, it's like your body gets filled with like so much love that like out of nowhere you start, you know, like wailing and laughing. And that laughing that you just start tearing up because you can't fucking breathe, and then comes with that, you know, like Theo laugh where it's like that's like yo, that's that good laugh. You know that laugh. You know that laugh.
Like quack.
Looking back, would you change anything?
Like looking back on my life?
Yep. Looking back on everything that you've experienced, would you change anything?
Yes and no. No, because as they always say, everything you've gone through makes you who you are. And I love who I am and where I'm at. But with respect to my 20-year-old self, I would say that I probably, if I could do anything differently, I would have never let somebody else's drug and alcohol abuse be the reason why I engaged in my own abuse of drugs and alcohol. I would have had I wish I could have had like firmer boundaries when it came to that stuff. And not looked at like love relationships in a way where I got to do everything the other person is doing and with no regard to myself. I think that's a long-winded way to say I would have put myself first sooner if I could. And that love doesn't have to be abusive. You don't need to like aim for that Whitney Bobby love, like that's not cute. You can have love that is gentle and kind and affectionate and affirming, where you do get to put yourself first and you still get all the love you need.
Yes. Yes to that. Yeah. All right, y'all, it's time for that One Piece. Not to be confused with that wildly popular anime that we all know and love. This is that one piece of advice you would give to a younger you. So let's start with you, Gabby. What piece of advice would you give to a younger you?
I would say be so incredibly, courageously, hilariously queer. Always. Always, always. Oh, wait, we got to do that again. Hold on.
Yeah.
One piece of advice I would give to my younger self is to be as hilariously and bravely and majestically queer as you possibly can. Be that weirdo, be that creative, be that nerd burger butch Thea of your dreams. Like, just run with it, go with it, fly towards it.
Yeah. Facts. I definitely support that. I think that even for myself, like, I would just be, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And
I think I would also say there's no shame in giving yourself orgasms.
Yeah.
Teenage Tessa across me was like, God, I'm so sorry. I don't know what I'm doing.
That is a fact. Like, oh my God. And that prayer that came after, like, I'm so sorry, Jesus, please forgive me for all my sins. I'm sorry that I did that. I promise, I will go to church on Sunday and I will do the confirmation. Yo.
Yeah.
Oh. So, Gabby, put us on. What can we expect from you this year?
Listen, there's so much on the table right now. So we just dropped episode 1 of the Joy Revolution podcast. So that is available on all streaming platforms. We've got like 9 episodes right now. We'll be doing a season 2 very soon. BB Free is in comic book stores now. So that is available. Reach out to your local comic book shop and pick that up. Also, Juliet is in stores. The graphic novel for Juliet is being put out by Boom. That announcement will come later in the year. There's so much good stuff happening and already out.
Yes. I'm so excited for that. What? Bueno, guys, we've reached the end of this episode. Before I bid you all adieu, this week, I want to ask. Ready, Gabby?
Yes.
Oye Mi Gente, how do you prioritize joy? Piénsalo. Feel free to leave your insight answers in the comment and review sections. All right, guys, that is it for this week's episode. I want to give a big thank you to Gabby for joining me today. You are fucking incredible. Your words, your laughter bring me so much joy. Thank you for existing unapologetically. You can find Gabby on Instagram at Quirky Rican. And don't forget to follow their platform, Joy Revolution. podcast. And if you want to know more, you can also reach Gabby at her website, GabbyRivera.com. Remember to follow us at Oye Mi Gente podcast on Instagram. We are available on all your favorite streaming platforms. Be sure to subscribe, download, and leave us a comment in the review sections. Also follow Deacon Media on Instagram and Twitter. And if you want to know more about the Deacon Media Network, you can follow us and check us out at deaconmedia.com. Ciao.